Just a minute. So now let's start with the slider. So can you see the slide in full screen?
No.
No. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we continue speaking about Dr. Ahmed, and so she's talking about herself and her attitude to speaking about weaknesses. Now let us just listen the recording and then have a look at the questions here, just to focus on the information that we need to answer them. So she speaks about weakness, and she just gives an example of her weakness, and so how does she feel about this? Now let us just listen. I'll start the recording and you'll tell if it is audible.
Unit 7, Listening 1.
Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now.
Unit 7, Listening 1.
This brings me to an aspect of the training and job application process in New Zealand, which I initially found alien to my cultural background. Talking about oneself, especially about strengths and weaknesses. A weakness I used to have was over-empathizing with the parents and becoming upset when something went wrong with one of the children. In the recent interview for my present post, I related a case where a child almost didn't recover from an attack of meningitis, and I became very upset, even in the presence of the mother. I mentioned how I recorded both the good and bad experiences as part of my daily reflection, and how I talked to colleagues afterwards and soon realized that they had faced the same problems. I now see recording and analyzing my weaknesses in a more positive light, as a means for self-education and advancement.
Do we need to listen for the second time?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Unit 7, Listening 1.
This brings me to an aspect of the training and job application process in New Zealand, which I initially found alien to my cultural background. Talking about oneself, especially about strengths and weaknesses. A weakness I used to have was over-empathizing with the parents and becoming upset when something went wrong with one of the children. In the recent interview for my present post, I related a case where a child almost didn't recover from an attack of meningitis, and I became very upset, even in the presence of the mother. I mentioned how I recorded both the good and bad experiences as part of my daily reflection, and how I talked to colleagues afterwards and soon realized that they had faced the same problems. I now see recording and analyzing my weaknesses in a more positive light, as a means for self-education and advancement.
Well, let us answer the questions. So Manish, the first question is for you.
Yeah, ma'am. Why was it difficult for Dr. Ahmed to talk about herself? like she was feeling difficulty to explain, talk about oneself, cultural background.
Mm. So, just actually she belonged,
Because of cultural background, ma'am.
yes, belonged to a different culture. So, and this this way of speaking about oneself was alien for her. Mhm. Okay, so the next question, please, Pradeep.
What does she describe as a weakness in herself? Over empathizing with parents.
Mhm. Yes, and getting upset, yes, when
Yes,
something
upset.
goes wrong. Mhm. Okay, Rohita.
Does she have the weakness now?
So, does she have?
The
So, who can help us?
I
I
think
guess
she,
no, ma'am. She is
Mhm.
recording and like influencing it in a positive way.
So, the answer is negative now. The next is for Vanesh.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
What example does she use to explain her weakness? Maybe she
Mhm.
is upset with her children's.
Her own children
No,
or
and
a
describe
child.
how and when she used the example. Maybe the
So,
meningitis of the other, what she observed.
so who can help us?
she used an example of a patient, a children who didn't recover from meningitis,
Mhm.
and she got upset because
Mhm.
of that, along with their parents. I mean, patients.
In the presence of his parents. Mhm. That was a mistake. Mhm. Okay. So the next, please, Sohita.
Yes, ma'am. What does she now feel about recording and analyzing her weakness? She looks at it at a more positive light, and she sees it as a means of for self-education and advancement.
Exactly. Okay, good. Now,
Unit 7.
so Dr. Ahmed mentions how she recorded both the good and bad experiences as part of her daily reflection. In this context, what do you understand by reflection? What does it mean, reflection? Okay. Afnan, what do you think?
About what she made.
What do you understand by reflection?
Yes.
Ma'am, she recovered her weakness, ma'am, by
So she yes, she speaks about her weakness and analyzes, yes, the reasons, the causes
ma'am.
of her weakness. Mhm. So, yes, reflection is just analysis of some situation. Just and making conclusions to change the wrong situations. The question: have you been asked to keep a record of your learning experience? Have you been ever asked to do this? Have you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, for future references.
What was the situation?
Ma'am, about our exams and our answers, like how we have approached the question.
Uh-huh. So, and is this connected only with the just examination with the subject, or your attitude to this situation, your emotions?
Everything should be considered, not only education. Like if you talk very harshly in front of any elders, then you have to reflect yourself. Like you have to think about it, like what I have done, and you have to apologize for that.
Mm, mm. To make you have to make some conclusions, right? Mhm.
Yes.
To improve the bad situations. Okay, and the question, is it acceptable in all cultures? For example,
Yes, I think.
yes, in your culture.
Yes, ma'am, it's acceptable.
In your culture, it's okay to speak about your strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For example, Dr. Ahmed, she says that it's alien to her culture, but so it's a common thing in New Zealand. Anyway, you should consider whether it's acceptable in the culture of the person who you are talking to, right? You should be aware of these cultural differences. Okay, I'm glad that it's acceptable in your culture. And is it easy to talk about your strengths and weaknesses?
Not in all cases.
For example,
Like you can share, you can talk about your strengths and weaknesses with your parents or your friends, but not in front of so many people.
mhm,
Like
Even
people not who are close to us, maybe. Not to everyone.
I see. And if, for example, you speak about your strengths, is it more, is it easier to speak about what you are good at?
I think.
I guess so, ma'am.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, because you show your positive side, yes, your attractive side. Mhm. So, and if you
Yes,
speak,
ma'am.
if you speak about weakness, it's kind of
Hard to
failure.
talk about.
Yes, it's hard to talk about this. Mhm. Okay, but you remember that the Dr. Ahmed says that this is the chance to self education, just and for advancement, right?
I think talking about strength and weaknesses with yourself is more easier than expressing to anyone else.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. So, anything else? Mhm. Okay, and now, yes, now we are going to speak about the names of some infectious infant diseases, and in this context, we need to understand that we need to be sure that we understand the meaning of the following words. So, like, come out, in, become, covered with some. Okay, and German measles. German comes from germane, in other words, closely related to infectious. Then jab is vaccination, injection. Up means swollen. Scab, to form a crust, a scab on a wound or a sore, like in the picture. So runny nose, coryza, you know this. And stridor, an inspiratory sound which is due to partial obstruction of the upper airways. This is stridor. Well, and so we'll need these words. And now I would like you to think of the medical equivalent to these non-technical terms. So we met some of these diseases in the text about Dr. Ahmed. So, and we need to write the medical, technical terms to these non-technical words. For example, chickenpox. What's the medical term for chickenpox? Does anyone know? This is varicella. So chickenpox, varicella. Mhm. Okay, so I see it's not easy. German measles. Any ideas about German measles? Give me the names of infant diseases you know. From the text about Dr. Ahmed, for example. So what do you remember? Infant diseases.
Rubella.
Horrible.
And German measles means
Yes.
Acute laryngo.
Okay. So German
of-
measles is rubella. Yes, this is rubella. Put it down, please. So then whooping cough.
pertussis.
Yes.
Pertussis, ma'am.
Pertussis. Yeah, pertussis. Mhm. So write it down. Then there is mumps.
Acute laryngo tracheobronchitis.
No, it's something different.
Epidemic parotitis.
Yes, this is parotitis, infectious parotitis. Mumps. Infectious parotitis. Write it down, please. Then there is measles.
Rubiola.
Rubiola.
Horrible.
Rubiola. Then there is croup. And what you say?
Tracheobronchitis.
Acute
Bronchitis.
laryngotracheal
I can't pronounce this word. So
Laryngotracheobronchitis.
Bronchitis.
yes, so put it down. Acute laryngotracheobronchitis. Yes. And the last one is lockjaw.
Tetanus.
Tetanus. Tetanus. Okay. So chickenpox, varicella, German measles, rubella, whooping cough, pertussis, mumps, infectious parotitis, measles, rubiola, yes, group acute laryngotracheobronchitis, okay, bronchitis, sorry,
Bronchitis.
and lockjaw,
Tetanus.
Good. Now let us use these non-technical words like chickenpox, German measles to complete the sentence. So in here we have there is information of different conditions of people. So if let us look at the first sentence and listen to Bhargavi.
Yes, ma'am. If he had glottitis, he would have stridor all the time and not just when he's upset. So I think it is crop.
Yes, it is croup. Okay, so please look at the other situations and just think of the diagnosis here using non-technical language. So just 4 minutes. Start, please.
Ma'am, can you show the previous slide so that
Okay. Write them down. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Well, let us check. Vidya, will you read the second sentence, please?
The glands behind ear are up, but there are usually no complications with
We see, yes? The glands behind the ear are up. So what kind of illness, disease is it?
Mumps?
I guess
Mumps,
measles.
mumps, or so this is like parotitis, yes, the medical term for this, mumps. Mhm. The next is for Lahari. That is number 3, please.
If you have just been vaccinated for dash, you will need to avoid getting pregnant for the next 6 months.
Mhm.
German measles.
Yes, German measles, or medical term rubella, yes, rather dangerous disease. So the next is for Manish.
Yes, ma'am. If he had, he'd have several symptoms like fever, uh, conjunctivitis, cough, and a runny nose. I think it's just a viral rash he has got.
So if he had dash, here we should use here the word.
I guess it's measles.
If he had okay, measles, yes. Mhm. So measles, and in other words, this is rubeola, right? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so Pradeep, please.
If he had all his jobs, then he is well protected against dash, even if he broke the skin with the dirty needle. Lockjaw, ma'am.
Lockjaw. So, or the medical term for this tetanus.
Tetanus.
Okay.
Tetanus.
Rohita.
I think he got dust doctor. He had fever and then he came out in spots and his body in clumps and they started to scab over. Chicken pox.
Chicken pox. Okay, and so the last sentence here, Bhuvanesh. Bhuvanesh, are you
If he
here?
had could not, yes, ma'am. If he had could not be, he had a strong breathing in sound and coughing fits with vomiting.
So the dash is after had. If he had what?
Vomiting, coughing fits with vomiting. Breathing in
Yes,
sound.
if he had whooping cough. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Whooping cough.
Whooping cough, which is pertussis, yeah, the medical term. Okay, and the question: are the childhood illnesses listed on the previous slide common in your country?
Yes, ma'am.
Not so common, but we can find them.
We can find one like
Chickenpox is kind of common, I guess.
chicken pox.
Okay, so
Mumps, also mumps.
maybe they are not common because of the vaccination, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are other diseases are common?
Jaundice.
Sorry?
Common cold.
Viral fever.
Oh. Okay. COVID, yes, nowadays.
COVID is most common.
Okay, so anyway, so these diseases are spread worldwide and very common everywhere. And so now let us look at the conditions which are described here and check that we understand the mother's statements. And let us decide what condition they might relate to. So actually, we need to look through these conditions and have a look at the next slide. Here there are some description, the names of, there are some symptoms and signs. As you see, headache, neck stiffness, photophobia, seizures, unwell, and raised pulse, decreased blood pressure, raised temperature, decreased, this is GCS. GCS stands for Glasgow Coma Scale, decreased on Glasgow Coma Scale, or abnormal mood and neck stiffness, also rash and focal neurology. So, and if we just keep in mind the names of these symptoms and signs, let us just think of how can we describe the condition of a child, because this is a baby and the baby can't just explain what's wrong with his or her health. And just if a doctor talks to his mother and the mother shares what she has noticed, we can just decide what kind of symptom the baby has. So what about the first situation? Let us listen to Sohita.
Yes, ma'am. He keeps touching his head. Headache, I think.
Yes, this is a headache. Okay, because the head worries him or her baby. Well, Afnan, please.
He's been shying away from the bright lights.
What kind of sign is it or symptom? This is the sign, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Or symptom. So which one out of these?
Photophobia, I think.
Photophobia, which is the symptom of what kind of illness? Photophobia.
He can't see the bright light.
Eye burns, I think.
Meningitis, for example, also, right? Mhm. Okay, so the next one is for Khadija. Is she here? No. Mayuka, please.
He can move his head very much. Neck stiffness.
Great. So, Rina.
He is not himself at all. I have never seen him like this before.
This is
Unwell.
about behavior, about mood.
Unwell.
Yes. Abnormal mood.
Abnormal mood. Decreased G's or abnormal mood.
Okay, so the next is for Bhargavi.
Yes, ma'am. He's been running a high temperature, raised temperature.
Okay, so Vidya.
He has come out in a rash around his middle. That is rash.
Okay.
Positive or negative. Yes,
Yes, this is rash. Okay. So the next one is for Lahari.
He's been making odd crying noises.
It can be the sign of what?
Maybe
of anything, right? Of headache, photophobia, seizures, raised temperature. Yes. Because the baby, when the baby can't speak and explain his condition, just this is the baby cries. And the last one is for Manish, please.
He's been making these odd moments, seizures.
Yes, you're right. Now, yes, that is all I just planned to talk to you today about. And now let us focus on the home assignment. The home assignment will consist of 2 parts. Today, the first is some vocabulary exercises. We usually do, you write the answers on a sheet of paper and you take a photo or make the screenshot and upload it into a PDF file. And another task is just to record a video and upload it on a YouTube channel. So you should talk about weaknesses. So we were speaking weaknesses is seen as a sign of failure, and talking about strength is considered boasting, but you say it's okay in your culture. So from another point of view, not being aware of weaknesses or acting to improve them can also be viewed as failure. And acknowledging strengths, knowing where they lie, is an important part of understanding one's progress. So you should describe your own strengths and weaknesses, and you should add examples. And when you are speaking, make sure you talk about genuine qualities that relate to yourself and start with such phrase, for example, I feel that I am. And you should make a 2-3 minute video record of your story. You should first write the story down just to focus on all the details. So you should support your statement with the examples, and then you should memorize the story and just speak about your strengths and weaknesses looking at the camera. Such a way you should record your story, and you should upload the story to your YouTube channel. Do you have your own YouTube channel? Have you ever used it?
No, ma'am. No.
Do you have the Gmail account?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you have Gmail account, you remember that in the right upper corner there are 9 dots, and these dots, they stand for different options that you can use in Google, like pictures, email, Google Drive, and one of the options is YouTube. This is your YouTube channel. So you can just go there, and when you record, make the record, you should upload your recording to YouTube channel, and you can just mark this is this record is available using a link. Yes, choose this option, and then you should upload the link to the Moodle site. Yes, where the home assignment is placed.
Okay.
So if you haven't done this before, please just search for some instructions on YouTube channel, how to upload something on YouTube channel. So I think it will be, you can do it. So if you have any problems, you can just write to me in WhatsApp, and I'll try to help you. Okay?
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay,
Sure.
don't. Who say no? Okay. So anyway,